Hello everyone, welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 49, recording on Friday, February 19th, on what was supposed to be Thursday, February 18th, 2021. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
My name's Andrew.
So we have to pull back the curtain here. We were supposed to record at 10:30. Basically by my request. I kind of wanted to record today, and I was fast asleep. I fell asleep with the lights on in my bedroom, and these guys tried calling me, probably in bed, and I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck time is it? What is going on? One of those times where you fall asleep and you don't know where you are or what's going on. I realized what had happened, and I'm really sorry. I did not mean for that to happen, and thanks for waiting, I guess.
No problem. All good. You know, we were just hanging out, having a good time without you. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Your sleeping habits, I think you got to do something.
They were kind of back to normal. I don't know what happened. So maybe Bowser's Fury lulled me into a sleep. I have no idea.
Interesting.
I can say that's not the case because I was actually playing Bowser's Fury, but it was, very strange. Anyway, I set an alarm. I don't know why it didn't go off, and it was supposed to be for like 9:30 or something like that. Like it wasn't even right before we were supposed to record, so I don't know. Anyway, very sorry. Weird. If this show suffers as a result, it is my fault completely. These guys have been waiting, and they are fucking pissed, and rightfully so. I would be too. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Nintendo Direct. First Nintendo Direct in a while. First Nintendo-centric episode, and as far as I'm concerned, it was a Nintendo Direct I was really happy with, which usually doesn't happen, but we will get into it. Anything else we need to talk about before we get right into the Nintendo Direct, gentlemen?
No, I don't think so.
I know Sean and I are pretty talked out.
I can imagine. That's all right. I'll do lots of talking. All right. So yesterday, Nintendo Direct, 50 minutes, pretty long one. And I will say they bounced from announcement to announcement pretty quick. There wasn't one announcement that really, took up a majority of the Nintendo Direct. It was a lot of stuff. Now we can debate how, major any of these things are that were being announced. A couple, I would say, qualify as major. But as I said, I was pretty happy because let's talk about the biggest things as far as I'm concerned first, which number one was the Skyward Sword HD remake, which I had been wanting for a long time. I've always wanted a reason to go back and play this game, although I was kind of struck by the art style not holding up as much as I thought it would. Seeing though, even in an HD format, it felt, I don't know, surprisingly, what's the word? Like last gen? Like, I don't know, like the way Wind Waker holds up so much with an HD remake, I wasn't necessarily feeling it with Skyward Sword, but I was happy to see there's a controller scheme as well where you use the right stick, which is what I assumed it would be. But I was also surprised by that game coming out in 2011. It does not feel that old. It's like a decade old. Does that seem crazy to anyone else? Like
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're almost dead. I'm sleeping my life away.
Was there another, other than Breath of the Wild, was there another Zelda game in between there? Or was that
no, this is the first major release in between. There was the Wind Waker HD remake and the
Twilight Princess
HD remake, Majora's Mask 3DS remake, I guess. It's around the same time, but Ocarina of Time 3DS remake would have been a similar timing, I think.
Yeah, and Link's Awakening remake and
yeah, right.
Oh yeah, that too, for sure. 100%. So a lot of remakes. Don't know what Nintendo would do without remakes. If they actually have an ecosystem with the Switch where they just, gamers expect backwards compatibility now. This is going to be really interesting because Nintendo really doesn't love backwards compatibility, although they did have physical backwards compatibility with the Wii and the GameCube. I'm not going to say they've never handled it in their past, but if there's a Switch 2 or Switch Next, whatever that is, if these Switch games don't work on it, it might be the first time people turn on Nintendo and stop defending everything they do. So that's a good thing, I think. That if I buy another Nintendo system, all of these classic Nintendo games will work, and I won't have to rebuy them all again at $80 a pop. So I'm kind of excited for that.
Well, they do have some backwards compatibility now with the Nintendo Online. So, you just have to wait like 20 years, and then you'll be able to play those on the Nintendo Online store for a small fee.
That is true. I do appreciate what you get with the Nintendo Online service for the price. I think it's pretty good. But, I mean, I did buy every one of those games almost as Virtual Console titles. Probably twice. Potentially, it would have been 3 times if Super Nintendo Virtual Console games worked on the old Nintendo 3DS, not the new Nintendo 3DS. And I would have bought Super Metroid and other stuff for sure. They saved me. They saved me from myself. Thank you, Nintendo. So what do you guys think? Skyward Sword HD, will you be buying? Will it be $80?
No, yes.
I will probably be buying. I mean, this is a game I never got into on the Wii, and the motion controls were a big reason for it. So allowing me to play it without the motion controls is kind of a selling point. I'm not happy about paying $80 for it, but I probably will. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. That was one of the announcements I was somewhat happy with.
Well, just in terms of buying it or not, did you buy 3D World plus Bowser's Fury? We were talking earlier today.
Haven't purchased yet, but I plan to this weekend.
Is it an easier sell for Skyward Sword over that, or is it about the same?
It is, just because I never played the first one, even though I own the first, the Wii version. I just never played it. So, Bowser's Fury, really, I'd be paying $80 for like a 4-hour game, which I'm not happy about, but probably will do it.
All right.
Depending on what you say about it, Frank. So it's all up to you.
I'll just convince you to buy it. Don't worry. Sorry, Huck, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say I will probably not purchase it. I don't recall. I mean, I recall having some issues with the motion controls, but I believe my bigger issue with that game was that it felt like the tutorial was like 10 hours long before you actually got into any like gameplay in that game. So on that alone, I will not be picking it up unless I hear differently.
I remember that being like a huge issue with that game, just how long that tutorial was.
Yeah, I remember it being a huge issue in Twilight Princess, more so than Skyward Sword, but it was definitely there in Skyward Sword. And yeah, I think in the video to the Nintendo Direct, they mentioned that it was the first time they had a version of the stamina bar. That seemed to be a selling feature. Even though I'm not crazy about the stamina bar in general, but I don't know. All of my issues with that game seem to be from the Wii Motion Plus. Like I kind of remember liking the game, the world, like that kind of aerial version of Wind Waker and the birds and all that stuff. I kind of liked everything about the game except for the motion controls. So if I can get away from that, I think I may like it and become a defender, but I don't want to say that too early. And I actually, for the first time, I'm thinking about buying those Joy-Cons. I like the Hylian Shield and Master Sword Joy-Cons, so
go for it. Why not? Hey,
I don't know if I was just in a good mood today, but I was eating up a lot of this stuff.
You're well rested.
Definitely poised for a Nintendo phase. So,
thankfully, I didn't depend on watching the Nintendo Direct before we recorded. I had already watched it because then I would have literally nothing to say. Is that it for Skyward Sword, which I think is the biggest announcement?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously
No way.
they did mention Breath of the Wild 2 is coming, but they
Yeah,
had
you should
nothing to
probably
show.
mention that in the same breath. Uh,
That was
not
not.
surprisingly.
I will disagree that it's the biggest announcement. The biggest
Okay.
announcement is the Mario Golf game.
Well, for me it is. I didn't want to presume
I
it
thought
to
it
be.
was. Oh, for everybody it should be. I would
I
think.
love Mario Golf. Toadstool Tour is one of the best golf games ever. I really, as they started to, well, I'd heard that this was part of the Nintendo Direct. What's it called? Let's get the name exactly right. I think it's
Super Rush.
Mario Golf Super Rush, correct? And I remember being so excited when they announced the 3DS version of Mario Golf, which had been a while. And I was ultimately pretty disappointed with that. And a lot of the things that made me disappointed with that game seem to be back. And it's kind of the overworld story mode stuff did absolutely nothing for me, kind of like Mario Tennis, where it's a lot of dialogue that I don't care about. I loved Toadstool Tour because it was just events, kind of like Mario Kart setup, do an event, win it, have different classes. And then I really remember loving the challenge modes where there's rings and other things that are kind of mini games centered around golf where you have to learn how to do the curve shots and all the spins and all that stuff. Like I just loved getting into the gameplay in Toadstool Tour. And this seems again like it's kind of they're worried about giving way more context, which is generally not fun in these types of games, including story modes and overworld. So I am a little concerned about that those same issues I have, like just get us into the game. Like I don't need all this dressing to make this game exciting. I just want to play golf. But this is probably the game I would have wanted the most out of anything for this console. Except for maybe a new Metroid, which who knows what's going on.
I found that the way they described it, I thought that the story mode was going to be extra in this version, and maybe there was going to be like a regular sort of like tournament mode where you can just play as like whichever character you want. But maybe I'm wrong. They obviously didn't have specifics about that.
Well, it did say like the trailer specifically said like story mode, like as if it was included in the game.
Oh, it is. I think it is included. I thought, like Frank was saying, that the previous one was like all in that story mode. It sounded more like maybe they
okay.
separated them out into
Could
two
be,
different
yeah.
kind of things.
I got the similar feeling to Huck in the way it was presented, where there's story mode too, like it's an addition thing. But even then, it gets me a little concerned.
I'm open to the story mode thing. I remember liking it in one of the DS or Game Boy Advance Mario Golfs. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the early ones where they first added that, and I actually really liked it. So I mean, I'm open to it. But they also showed in that trailer Speed Golf. I don't know if that's been in any of
I
the.
believe that was in the 3DS one as
Yeah,
well.
that looked pretty fun. I'm down for that. No.
Walking on a golf course is less fun than you think.
Well, I mean,
Whether there's power ups or not, I just
yeah,
Can
I
you
guess
get in a
that's
golf
what
cart though?
it seemed to me like you're battling with the other golfers at the same time, which could be fun.
I'm not going to write it off, but I'm not convinced. Sorry, Huck.
I was just gonna say, can you order beers from a beer cart and then drive a go kart around or a golf cart around? That's the real question.
That's
You
what
can.
they should add golf carts and like kind of make it like a Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Now that's a little more interesting for sure.
That would be cool.
Mario Kart smashing into other golf carts. Perfect.
Not bad. I know a lot of people. I think Mario Kart 9 was trending with people anticipating it, and there was obviously the story with Joe Biden playing Mario Kart as well, and people were expecting new Mario Kart stuff. So, alas, no new Mario Kart stuff at all. So, if we're going to talk absences, Mario Kart, even though I wasn't expecting it personally, and Metroid Prime 4 still nowhere to be seen. Breath of the Wild 2, which I kind of expected. And is there any other major stuff that people were
Well, Splatoon 3. I mean, there
Oh,
wasn't
I
much
did that.
shown.
That wasn't there. I was going to bring up.
Oh, that wasn't there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that people were like, it's about time we've heard about this franchise.
I think Zelda was a big thing because isn't it like a big anniversary for Zelda this year?
Yeah,
People thought
there's
there was
still-
going to be like a package of old Zelda games or something, and
yeah,
they didn't
they're
announce that.
still attaching things to the 35th anniversary of Mario. I think they even said we're continuing to celebrate Mario with, I guess it was the Super Mario Animal Crossing was the thing that tied that in, which I actually thought looked pretty cool. Had me thinking about getting into Animal Crossing again. I've had a bit of a break from it, but I do miss some of the stuff in that series. So, Huck, did you end up buying it? Do your kids play it still, or Sean?
I actually just got it out of the library again. I didn't buy it, but I'm just to go back to Mario Kart quickly.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. It has sold, according to Nintendo Japan's site.
Can I guess?
33
Never mind.
I just ruined it. Sorry. 33 million units. And
I
this
would
is
not have guessed anywhere near that.
Mario Kart Deluxe. So this is like just the Switch version, not the original version, including 3DS or wherever it was originally released. That's insane. So I was trying to get
$250 million.
I was trying to get a year-by-year breakdown to see if it's still selling, because if it's still selling, which I imagine it is, you don't just sell 33 million units in 1 year or 2 years even.
And
I
that's
imagine nine's nowhere near here. They're not. If this is still selling, they're not going to come out with a new game. There's no reason to.
yeah, sounds like something that would go well alongside a new console, which is got to be getting there soon. Like,
Probably.
Well, I guess that's something that maybe people thought might be announced that wasn't a new, like either an upgraded version of the Switch or a whole new console, which obviously didn't happen.
Sorry,
yeah,
I
I
derailed
think if they announced it too soon after Christmas, parents would be pissed. I think something like that would come in June or July potentially.
Yeah, like an E3 time frame type thing. Or what's the Tokyo Game Show? When's that? September, I think, normally.
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm not. No, it's fine. I just personally wasn't expecting that for this at all. A lot of people bought new Switches that would not be happy.
And I guess just in terms of, you were saying you were happy with the Direct, and the response I've been seeing online is people very disappointed. I guess it all has to do with expectations. The last bunch of Directs for me, like they've been doing a few of them, maybe not to this extent, but just smaller ones for like Smash Bros things and stuff. And I'm just like, it's never anything I'm at all interested in. There's barely even new games announced at these things. So this was like a step up from that, which was nice. But certainly there was a lot of big things people were expecting that just weren't there.
There's definitely a change of pace. Like you were saying, the other ones have been focused on like 1 or 2 games, whereas this was just scattershot of tons of stuff.
Yeah.
I think mostly the reason I was kind of disappointed with it is mostly ports, a lot of DLC stuff. So nothing really, exciting, I would say, or new.
That to me seems pretty par for the course. Like Sean was saying, most Nintendo Directs, there's not a lot to talk about. So I do understand people's disappointment with the Nintendo Direct. I typically would be disappointed, but there was just a few things in here that just really appeal to me specifically, including Mario Golf, Skyward Sword. And before I get to Splatoon 3, I'll mention another one that is the thing I'm maybe inexplicably excited for, which is Miitopia. And I loved the 3DS Me Quest adventure thing that was kind of like using the tagging system. If you ran into people, you could use them as adventurers and do this kind of mini RPG over and over again to unlock things. I remember having a lot of fun with that, including the puzzle elements. There was 2 things. There was the puzzles where if you tagged people, you could steal pieces. And then there was the quest. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but I remember liking that a lot. And this looked like basically they took that idea and built it out into a bit of a, I don't know if it's a full-length game. It seems like a smaller game, but I'm kind of excited for Miitopia.
Well, so I'm kind of interested in it as well, but I believe, and I didn't realize this at the time, it was actually released for the 3DS, and this is just like a remastered or repackaging of it. I don't think there's anything new here, but I mean, I didn't play the 3DS version, so I don't know if that matters. But just reading that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe a little less excited. For
Yeah, 2016. Wow,
Yeah.
I had my what's the murder game we've been playing?
Murder by Numbers.
Murder by Numbers. I really need to grab the sweat sound off that because this is deeply embarrassing. But you know what? While we're on it, this is probably a thing that appealed to Sean, maybe an unintentional segue. Let me get the exact name here right. Famicom Detective Club.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Which I thought would be up both of your alleys, and I thought the art style was pretty cool too. I actually thought this looked really good after pplaying Murder by Numbers.
yeah, we did talk about this before you
Little pre-show.
arrived.
While I was sleeping.
But yeah, I'm kind of interested in this. I'm not familiar at all with the series. Like, I assume it's just something that's been popular and existed in Japan for a while, and now they're bringing it to North America. But yeah, I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah. Just to mirror what we said in the pre-show, it looked like a really polished art style and animation. It looked like almost like an actual like 24 frame or 30 frame cartoon animation rather than that sort of like comic booky stand still jump around animation that a lot of people do now to kind of cut corners and save money. And I thought it looked really neat. Now they didn't really go into the gameplay. They kind of explained what you did in each of the two cases that you have. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely right up my alley. I'm interested in it for sure. Though the price was quite high, I believe, to pre-order. I think it's like $40 pre-order, which I guess
thought it was going to be full price for both. Like, is that for one or for both?
For one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, both is around full price then, which is kind of what I was expecting based on Nintendo's track record with re-releases and HD remakes. But I haven't fully watched the video yet, but Tim Rogers, Action Button Reviews, did a game called Tokimeki Memorial, which
You haven't finished watching it? It's amazing.
It's at the point of the playthrough. He said you should take a break now, and I wanted to actually watch it, not have it on.
Which break? I think he does two of those in that one.
Okay, well, when he's about to basically play through the entire game, and
that's the best part. So many callback jokes in that section.
Okay,
you gotta watch it.
I gotta get back to that.
It's hilarious.
It is weird though because I know nothing about the game. Obviously, it was never released in North America, but I don't know. He definitely made a case for why it's very interesting and why I'd want to try it. So now I'm hoping this starts a trend.
So I watched that whole Let Play review, long form review, and that Toki Morio, whatever it's called,
Tokimeki Memorial.
Yeah, that looks nothing like this detective game.
No,
that other game is much more of like a almost like a Persona RPG type game than this detective game looks to be.
For sure, I just meant like more of a story based game from Japan. Maybe a trend that some of those that were really popular start to get ported or people start talking about them some more, which is a pretty big blind spot for me. I'm trying to find out, like I got the sense that the original was on Nintendo or Super Nintendo, maybe just based on the name. I don't know if that's true. Does anyone know what it shipped on originally?
No.
I'm trying to look it up right now. For the Famicom computer disk system in '88. Maybe they were.
Wow, that's like older than I thought.
So this was an add-on. It looks like to the Famicom.
So I just looked
at a floppy disk thing attachment.
So I Googled it, and there's an article on Nintendo Life saying after 33 years, the Detective Club is finally coming to the West. So this is a very old property.
Which is what I got the sense of just based on the name. But yeah, kind of interesting. Again, it was a weird thing I had no idea I might want, but the art style definitely sold me, and playing similar games recently. So I thought that would basically, we would all be interested in that one. I thought it was interesting. And let's talk Splatoon 3. I really wish I played more Splatoon. I like the concept. I missed it the last time it was on sale. I refuse to pay $80 at this point. But even $60, which, like, when games go on sale in Canada, they're $55.99, which is still ridiculous for a game I bought once for $80, and it's been out forever. Like, Nintendo basically doesn't do selects or greatest hits at all anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
which part of me is like, okay, they stick to their guns. You want to buy this game, you better buy it, because there's no waiting for it to go on sale, really. You don't know when that's going to be. And
when you're selling 33 million copies.
I know. Like, I actually appreciate that for the industry, and I wish more game companies would do that and just be like, yeah, like, so many people just wait for sales and, you know, that 4-month window or whatever after holidays. I appreciate the fact that Nintendo is like, no, this is the value of our games, and they generally hold value as well. So if you buy them physically, you can get a lot of money selling Nintendo games well after the fact, which, you know, I think is a good thing overall. They don't become worthless after a while. So Splatoon 3, there was not a lot to show here. Like, it was kind of a teaser almost. I guess the biggest feature was the buddy or companion, which seems to be a new thing, although I didn't see it, how it worked in terms of gameplay. I liked the presentation. When the character was on that bus and there was those other weird kind of fish creatures and stuff like that, I'm like, this looks kind of neat, but I'm assuming it's just more Splatoon. I was expecting I think Splatoon 2 for the Switch, which was basically Splatoon 1. I guess I lied when I said I had bought it once. The Splatoon 2 is an official release where they took the original, I think added some new weapons, and also had like a single player, not campaign, but mode with like challenges and stuff like that. I never really played, so I'm not sure.
Splatoon 2 has a campaign, like a full-blown story mode.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. Like, it's kind of shortish, like 3 or 4 hours, I think, but from what I've seen of it, it's pretty good.
Sounds
so
amazing.
that would be what I would be hoping for with Splatoon 3, like a full expanded campaign. I would definitely be in. I mean, I'm sure I'll probably buy this either way, but I'm just not as interested in the multiplayer. Although, to be fair, I've never really played multiplayer, so if I had some friends to play with, maybe I would.
You know what? Maybe I'll buy it. Why not? $80? Fuck it. That's my...
Do it.
I have to buy everyone a copy of Splatoon 2 to play online for being... Huck, do you your needle move for Splatoon at all?
No. Negative movement.
That's what I thought. Now, I only have one more thing that I think I thought in terms of our personalities and what we like, and this was the thing for a second I thought might be what Huck would be really excited for, and it's that or his biggest thing of the Nintendo Direct. It was the Project Triangle Strategy. Is that what it's called? Did I get that name?
Working.
What a name. What a name.
Which looked a lot like Octopath Traveler, taking that engine or however they set up that game. Is it Square Enix? I assumed it is, although I don't know that officially.
I believe so. I just assumed so. I don't recall
It
explicitly
looked so
seeing...
similar.
Yeah.
It looked like it was basically taking the Super Nintendo version of Final Fantasy III and Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Doing that same type of release idea with a new tactics RPG. Now, I'm not into tactics games. I suck at them. I've never, gotten the itch to get into those to any level, or I hear they can be really addictive. Obviously, there's a lot of people who like those games. Um, I think you're one of them, Huck. But I thought
Yep.
the system with the terrain and the fire and the lightning and water and all that stuff, I'm guessing that exists somewhere else, but it looked like a neat implementation of it.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in it. Definitely the art style is a draw. That Octopath Traveler art style is really neat. And the like there hasn't been a Final Fantasy Tactics game from, a major studio in a long time. There has been little indie games that are now popping up because I think it's a really like underserved market right now. So I think it's interesting that they're going to put this out. Now, I found that the name choice interesting, that they decided to put out this info without having like a final name yet. And even, I believe there's a demo now they
Yeah,
announced.
yeah, the demo's
So
out
I
on the
haven't tried it
Switch.
yet, but it seems kind of strange that they would put out this demo. Though I believe originally when they put out the Octopath Traveler demo, I believe it was called Project Octopath Traveler. So I wonder if they are
It's like
just
a
going to call this.
continuation. No, that makes
I wonder
sense.
if they're just going to call this triangle strategy in the end, which doesn't make sense. I think the triangle strategy is literally like, let's do a like rock paper scissors style strategy game, and tactical turn-based strategy game with sort of like if you took Fire Emblem and then made it more of a raised height game if you had height in it as well.
You are correct that Octopath launched as Project Octopath Traveler, which I had completely forgotten.
But did it launch as Project Octopath Traveler bracket working title?
No,
Probably. It probably did.
I didn't
But
notice
the
that.
demo
I
came out.
remember that from the Nintendo Direct. It did say working title.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
On one of the title screens. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess tied in with that was Bravely Default 2. I know nothing about Bravely Default. Did you beat that, Huck, or play it?
No, I have not played any of them, but this is I'm interested in this game when it comes out.
The first was a 3DS release, I'm pretty sure, exclusively.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, now that's it for the major stuff for me. I guess one other thing I would consider major would be Monster Hunter Rise. I think a lot of people are
Yeah.
anticipating this game. I've mentioned before I tried to get into Monster Hunter World on PlayStation 4. I love the creature designs in this series. Like it's a game I want to like. I look at these monsters and I'm like, even in this one, I'm like, these look amazing. This seems like I should love this game. And then I always go to play it and it's just like the combat and the maps are so dated to me. Like it's the level design is not intriguing. The combat is a little clunky. I can't get into the RPG elements. I don't know what it is. I just cannot get into this series. I know people love it. I would love to give it another chance at some point, and probably should. But what's your guys' take on these games? Have you played any? Does this do
I
anything
played
for it?
I played a little bit of Monster Hunter World. Same idea as you. Just too overwhelming. Couldn't really grasp what was going on. I have a feeling it's not really about the story. It's more about just like almost like the Pokemon aspect of it, kind of like fighting all the monsters, and just wasn't my style of game really.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried any of them. I know, I think there's one on Game Pass right now. And it's, I've kind of been thinking like, hey, we should get together and try this out sometime because I'm curious about the multiplayer aspect of it, of like teaming up to take down these monsters. But everything I've seen from these games, they've always seemed a little too grindy for me. Uh, but I'm curious. I'll probably watch the movie at some point. I don't know if that'll help.
I don't think it'll help.
So there were a couple other announcements though that I thought were.
I have a couple things I want to talk about, but nothing. I wouldn't classify it as major. The only other major thing would have been Um, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection.
I think that was already known.
Was
Somewhat.
it? Okay. And I have nothing else major. Although I will say before people like the Pyra and Mithra, I think are the characters coming to Smash Brothers. Although as Sean mentioned, new Smash Brothers characters do not move any needles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
maybe Legend of Mana?
That game's already been out on other systems.
It is? Okay.
I believe so.
I thought it looked cool. I know very little about the systems of like creating your own map in that game. I thought that it showcased that pretty quickly and effectively in whatever they showed. Okay, sorry, Sean. You tell me what's amazing because apparently I don't
well,
know.
not necessarily amazing, but I think No More Heroes 3 is a big
Yeah.
title for Nintendo.
I just looked and that had been announced already. But have you guys played No More Heroes 1 or 2?
I think I played 1 a little bit. I didn't
really
play
have.
2.
So the way they showed it in this trailer, it looked like there was just like a fever dream of gameplay modes in this game.
It's a really weird franchise, and I've always been kind of wanting to check out more of them, but
I always get the name of the studio wrong, or it might have changed. It's like Grasshopper Suda.
It says Grasshopper Manufacturer right now on Wikipedia or wherever this is coming from on Google.
Well, which is formed by
is-
Goichi Suda.
yeah, Suda's the guy, right?
Apologies if I'm
Suda
pronouncing
51.
that. Yes, sorry, it was Suda 51 was another studio, and then this one. Yeah, I don't know. Is he part of this one, or he left Grasshopper in order to start Suda 51?
I don't know. It says on here that he's the designer on this game.
Okay, so he must still be there. And there was Lollipop Chainsaw and a few other games.
Yeah.
What was the one? Shadow. This is where I get confused because there was the. Let me get the one I'm looking for here. Shadows of the Damned, which I remember thinking was kind of interesting, and I've always been intrigued by this studio's games, but to be fair, I've not given them.
Let
Yeah,
It Die? Wasn't that free to play?
Yeah, for sure. I tried that out. I always try the games from the studio because they're so weird, but they never really hook me. And the other one, I did play a bit of Sin Mora or Sign Mora, a 2D shooter, which is out on other consoles now, which I remember liking.
Well, these guys did Killer 7 as well.
Yeah. Which I never played.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely doing original and unique stuff, but
Yeah.
I've not gotten into any of them really.
Yeah, the trailer just made it look like there were so many game modes, and it just kind of had me intrigued that they would have just so much unique things in this game that I kind of want to try it.
Dare I say I got WarioWare action game vibes, like or 3D
Yeah,
action
a little
games?
bit.
So yeah, definitely.
Looked kind of weird and interesting. Some other stuff I just wanted to mention quickly. Neon White. I
Yeah.
loved the presentation of it. I thought when I saw it was first person, I was a little less interested, but there's this card building element built into a first person platformer adventure or action game, I should say, that looked pretty cool. I know very little about it. I love the logo, the typeface. I thought it was minimal, but I was loving it.
Great logo for sure. I think it's the guy who made Donut County
Really?
Oh yeah.
is working on this. Yeah, so I'm interested for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty intriguing for something I'd never heard of and was a little obscure just in terms of what it is, but I thought it looked neat.
Yeah, developer Ben Esposito. That's like just the developer on Steam. So it's just that one guy, I guess. That's crazy.
Games, quote unquote, finally coming to Switch. Fall Guys, Outer Wilds, Tales from the Borderlands, Stubbs the Zombie.
No, okay, stop on that one. I wanted to bring this up only because in the title, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was actually Stubbs the Zombie trademark in Rebel Without a Pulse trademark in the title. So now, one, why would you ever want to trademark Stubbs the Zombie? Like that is going to be some hook that everyone's going to remember.
Well, I think
And
it's an
then,
old game, right? Like, isn't it
is
like
it?
this weird? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a. I'm pretty sure this game came out. It's like it's kind of a joke meta game. I think. I don't know if I'm making that up completely.
Yeah, it
Well,
is
2005.
2005.
So it
Yeah,
is
I
like a
wasn't sure
remake or a
if this was a new
re-release.
game in the series, but it looks like it's the old game remastered.
Yeah, which I remember hearing about on Xbox. Yeah, okay, that's where it was originally. Never played it. There's a few weird Xbox games like that that had remakes, like Voodoo Vince had a remake, and some weird first party games that seemed interesting that I don't know never caught on. I remember it never got a remake, but I remember Blinks the Cat. I think was another platformer that when I was still into 3D platformers. I think, but yeah, I mean, definitely not a needle mover. I think like is part of the joke of this game that it was bad. I don't know. I'm sorry if
Yeah,
that's
I don't know.
not the case, but I know it did not look great as far as I'm concerned. The
I
one
wonder.
thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it said Aspire is involved. I don't know. Were they that one publisher that's like buying up all the stuff? Are they like? Did they change? Are they now the THQ Nordic or whatever is now Aspire? Is that them?
It says here they previously remastered Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I don't know if that means anything.
Oh, okay.
I guess did I say Apex Legends is another game that they were talking about finally coming to Switch? Now I actually have. I think we've talked about this before, but like kids of friends that are really getting into free to play games. Like Fortnite obviously started it. Rocket League, they seem intrigued by the fact that it's free. So Apex Legends is free to play as far as I know, and I think it actually might be pretty big on the Switch. I'm surprised it's taken this long to get there. Although it did look a little low res, the videos I saw,
Is that
or downscaled,
oh, Respawn? Yeah, it's Respawn.
yeah. Which was really popular for a period of time. I think it's
Mhm.
still semi-popular, but I think the Switch is going to do pretty big things for that game.
Well, speaking of free to play, Frank, I don't know if
Oh,
this was on your
oh.
list.
This is the last thing I'm assuming I really want to talk about. It was probably, dare I say, the most offended I've been with a trailer in a long time. And I'm assuming you want to talk about Knockout City?
Yeah, but I'll talk about both of those. But is that that's the one you think I'm talking about right now?
Like if you were laughing, like Knockout City to me is like, is it just me? Is that so close of a representation of a World of Warcraft character? Like I thought it was,
Yeah, I thought it was like a Blizzard game at first. I was like, how?
Yeah.
and then but then they show like kind of a knockoff Princess Peach, and then a knockoff Call of Duty. So to me, the trailer is evoking Wreck-It Ralph. Basically, it's a Wreck-It Ralph trailer. But the fact that these characters are so similar to other games, even the Captain Wrangler, it looks like here, looks like StarCraft, or even that third-person StarCraft game that almost got released a long time ago, where it's kind of parody, but so close that it's not even parody.
Yeah, and isn't that soldier guy like almost identical to what Valve uses for like what's that go? What's that go?
Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I was like barfing in my mouth when I saw this thing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. It's apparently the same people who developed Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, it's this weird kind of interactive dodgeball game where you throw. My assumption is the gameplay is really good. The only way I could see this game being released is if they actually thought they had something great with the gameplay. So I'm not going to write it off, but the vibe of the trailer and the kind of, it should be called Knockoff Kings. Never mind Knockout Kings. I don't know. It seemed like way too similar, and I was not digging it at all.
It also, looking at it quickly, the art style also reminds me of that other EA, I believe it's EA Originals game, is that Rocket Arena.
Yeah, I got
Kind
that.
of similar to that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the art style and the character rip-off stuff didn't offend me as much as it offended you. I see that for sure, but I mean the premise seemed kind of interesting to me. Like I could see that being a fun game. But that actually wasn't what I was talking about. Because I don't know if that actually is free to play. It might be, but the other free to play game that was announced that I thought was interesting, although there was very little shown, Star
Yes.
Wars Hunters.
Yeah. It's I thought in terms of EA, again, I'm not even an EA hater. I know everyone hates EA. And I just happen to think that Knockout Kings trailer was gross. Uh but they clearly are.
It's Knockout City, just to
What did I call it?
you.
Knockout Kings.
Is that a
I
boxing
believe it's
game?
a boxing game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think for Sega Saturn, maybe, I don't know. The they're distancing, like, Star Wars Hunters was Zynga, which is owned by EA, right? There was
Yeah.
no EA anywhere. It's like, this is a Zynga game.
Zynga's owned by EA?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought
I don't.
somebody.
No, no way. Oh yeah. Wait. Left EA.
Oh, they left EA.
Yeah. I don't. So the guy, no, like the guy who runs it used to be at EA
Yeah,
Mobile.
no, they're not owned by EA.
Oh, maybe I'm confusing it with PopCap. I probably am.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
That would make
yeah.
sense.
Okay.
Because I think Zynga still is around buying up studios and stuff.
Okay, that is totally my fault. I was confusing it with PopCap games, and
Yeah.
I was kind of going under this whole. It's still exclusive to EA, but I felt like they were creating some weird distance from EA by branding it as Zynga, but that's not even true. I made up that narrative completely in my head, so apologies for that. And
Although, how long ago did the EA Star Wars license lapse? Like, they sure didn't waste time
yeah,
getting this trailer together to announce that they're making a Star Wars game.
did they know that that was going to happen? Like, is that weird that they were anticipating that license, or they had been working with someone to say, oh yeah, or maybe it didn't apply to mobile games and this was initially a mobile game and it's
Maybe it kind of like that font of Hunters and like the way they color it almost like doesn't feel Star Wars to me. It almost feels like some sort of like cheap knockoff kind of.
Well, it definitely to me feels like it's trying to be Fortnite,
yes,
but Star Wars.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it is coming to iOS and Android as well.
Okay.
So, it all kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's like a cooperative online shooter. They really didn't show much of it, but free to play. So, there's definitely a market they're trying to hit there. And I
probably your
don't,
children.
yeah, I don't know how interested I am personally, but I guess I'm a little curious.
Not into it. The only other things I had mentioned here was that Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which I'm still not crazy about the art style. I don't know why, but
Yeah, I'm not really that interested.
DC Superhero Girls, which
Yep.
Oh yeah.
actually didn't look that bad, to be honest. I'm surprised nothing like this existed already. To be
The art style really gave me like Costume Quest vibes.
let me refresh my memory.
It is like that brand is a thing, right?
It
Like
is
they
a
have, like,
thing?
an
Okay,
animated
I know.
series and
Oh, I
comics
see,
and
okay.
toys and all that. So
I wasn't really aware of it, but that makes sense then. Maybe tying in, bringing that into, looks a bit like a half Lego game, half those Platinum Transformers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games kind of thing. So
yep.
surprised, I was. No, I don't know if I'd buy it, but it didn't look that bad to me. And Samurai Warriors 5, which is the ultimate non-needle mover.
I didn't even know there was a 1 through 4.
I'm assuming this is tied into Dynasty Warriors, so at least give Hyrule Warriors credit for making me intrigued about playing one of those games for the first time. And
A
forever.
couple more from me was the Saga Frontier Remastered, which is like an old RPG from PlayStation that I think there's more than one, but maybe that's just the first game. And
I
then
must
there
have
was
fallen
one,
asleep for that one.
yeah, it wasn't very long. And then there was a game here which I'd never heard of called World's End Club, which I found very confusing. But I thought originally, like the way they named it, I thought it was going to be some sort of spin-off of The World Ends With You.
I
That
think
like
it is,
NES.
isn't it?
I don't think so. And
Oh
then
no,
it
this is yeah, keep going, sorry.
then it was almost going down like Persona vibes. It
It's
was
the
just like
Zero
a
Escape studio.
Oh,
And
okay.
Danganronpa. or whatever.
Danganronpa. Yeah, so it had like some elements of Danganronpa and then some like almost like Persona vibes. Like it was a very weird, very like not memorable name for the game in my opinion. And though I'm kind of intrigued by it, I'm also not going to probably remember it tomorrow, which is not probably a good thing for
That
them.
was definitely the case with me. But now when
Yeah.
you start talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it did kind of look interesting.
I've been aware of it because it is on Apple Arcade right now. I
Oh,
think only like the first half was on Apple Arcade, and maybe there's a part two coming still, something like that. But I haven't tried it, but I've been kind of interested.
Yeah, I'm the first news article I clicked in Nintendo Life. Second comment by Red Panda 0310. Was this game on Apple Arcade or am I misremembering? So I'm assuming that that's fact.
Sean's here to clear things up. We're not.
You're welcome, Red Panda 0310. All right, so that's it for the Nintendo Direct as far as I can say.
Hmm.
Yep.
We almost went an hour on that. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, that just kind of proves like people who said it was complete garbage. I mean, there was a lot of little things to sift through, and I feel like there had to be something you might be kind of interested in, maybe not the big titles you wanted, but there was a bunch of stuff.
Okay, so do you want to touch on DualSense class action lawsuit briefly?
Yeah, sure.
You know,
I mean, it seems like it's a big deal. I don't have that much
Sony
to say about
fanboy,
it.
and if I don't talk about this lawsuit,
Yes.
so apparently there's drift on the controllers here, and there's a class action lawsuit. I actually had not heard about this. Now, to be fair, I feel like there's a lot of hardware problems that I don't hear about unless they affect me directly. Like, I'm still surprised, and maybe there was, but I don't know about it, a class action lawsuit for the Xbox One disk drives, which are awful. I can't believe that's not a thing. That they basically don't function after whatever software patches could have been implemented. They still don't work half of the time when you put a disk in them. Don't understand how that's not a thing. But apparently it is happening a lot, and I haven't had that happen to any of my controllers, but they're saying it is related. I found an article and now I lost it, related to what's it called? Anyway, what do you guys think? Does it seem pretty bad or?
Well, I mean, I haven't experienced it personally, so I can't say, but I can say that my Switch Joy-Con, I got it fixed and the problem is back again. So when it happens, it is real annoying. And I don't know if it's a comparable fix for this as with the Nintendo Switch one, where people could just kind of put like a piece of cardboard or something in between. I haven't really read up on the technical side of it, but
Well, the Switch one was worse in my opinion because it was also a connectivity issue. It wasn't just the drift. It was literally the connection would, like your controller would just stop working. And it also made charging issues, like where it wouldn't charge the controller when it was attached, I think sometimes. So I feel like the Switch issue was a much bigger deal. The article, I wish I could find, it's not, but it was talking about that. It seems, it was an iFixit teardown. Let me look that up. So I think iFixit is a company that does, like they have kits for fixing your own hardware. Like you can fix your own MacBook and all this stuff. And I guess they're getting into teardowns. But they were talking about here it is. let me get the exact term here. The potentiometer joystick modules have an operating life of 2 million cycles, which means they will eventually fail. And the article, I think, says iFixit was quick to point out that these modules are not exclusive to the DualSense either. They're the exact same ones that are used in the PS4's DualShock 4, Xbox One controllers, including the Elite and Nintendo Switch's Pro controller. So I don't think there's, I mean, if you use a controller long enough, there are issues with controllers. I don't know if that's the case with this. It seems like there's something else going on. Like, it seems pretty early for this to be such a common problem. I also don't know if it's like, people are pissed at Sony and it's let's give them a lawsuit, or they're angry with them about PS5 stuff. I have no idea if there's any stuff like that going on behind the scenes, but I don't know. I guess it's kind of a big deal, but in terms of hardware fails, and I'm not dismissing it from this regard, but controllers seem to go at some point no matter what. So it seems like tricky territory. Like, I've had tons of broken controllers, sticky buttons, which sometimes are my fault, sometimes I don't think it's my fault. Obviously, sticks wear out. I don't know. I honestly haven't done a lot of research into it, so I don't know if you guys think it's a bigger deal than I'm letting on here.
Sticky buttons, eh?
Sometimes from
probably your fault.
No, sometimes I feel like I have brand new controllers for DualShock that I have not spilt anything on, nothing weird going on, and all of a sudden, even my PS5 DualSense, the responsiveness of some of the buttons is not great, and I had D-pad issues with my, I guess. Like, I had issues with my Series X controllers already. One of them. I sent it in, sent it back. No issues after that. Is there any part of this article or class action lawsuit where Sony's refusing to replace them that I'm missing?
Well, there's a couple of things. So there's a PC Gamer article I have here about it, and the subheading says, apparently okayed by the company even after pre-release testers flagged it. I don't see any additional information on that in the article, so I don't know where that's coming from. But that, I guess, is part of it. People are pissed because they knew about it and they still put them out even though they had this issue. But then the other thing it says in here, and again, not a lot of detail, but it sounds like, where is it? It says something about the replacement options being limited. So I don't know what that means. Limited repair options available for the issue, it says.
Where I have to say, getting my controller replaced for Series X was so quick and so easy. Anything that there was a delay there was on my end, actually packaging it up and sending it away. Once I sent it away, 2 days, had a new one. And it was the color, looked brand new, no complaints at all. I will mention Dax had a huge issue with his Series X, where he couldn't start 2 games, and every time he would start it, there were digital purchases and there was authentication issues, and he basically had to reinstall an entire game. I don't know if it's even working yet. Xbox customer service said it's talk to Activision, talk to Ubisoft, and I think he did some research online and saw that it's seems to be related to console updates and playing old versions on the Series X, but there was a lot of issues with Call of Duty where it would crash in the game and it would hard lock your entire system, and you had to do a hard reboot. There's still lots of issues with these new consoles, so I don't think it's as bad as a controller not working, but yeah, still lots of stuff going on here. Anyway, anything else to say about this issue? Huck still seems like he's focused on my sticky buttons.
Definitely. Having a little daydream over here, that's all.
All right, I had a real dream before you guys were waiting to record. So, are we talking about what we played? Anyone have anything?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
All right, I'll start with Bowser's Fury and a bit of Mario 3D World. Sean, you did play it? Huck didn't play it, I'm assuming?
Nope.
So I did not know Bowser's Fury was kind of a new full little game. I thought it was multiplayer for some reason based on the initial Nintendo Direct. But it's basically taking a lot of the systems and ideas of Mario 3D World and putting it into, let's say, a Super Mario 64 3D world where Mario 3D World is typically fixed cameras with some mobility and an aerial perspective for the most part. This is like a traditional 3D Mario camera. And it's like this kind of one big world that's kind of this water thing where Bowser's corrupting it and doing these. It's like this game loop where he pops up and attacks you once in a while. That's the thing I don't get about the game. The Bowser game loop seems weird. At first, I thought it was going to happen at specific points. Now it seems like it's timed, almost like the Blood Moon in Breath of the Wild. And I'm still confused about that. Like how I get rid of it, he eventually just goes away. That seems kind of not great. But overall, it seems like it's latching on to some ideas from Mario Sunshine, some branding from Sunshine with cat shines and other stuff like that. It's cat influenced, like the cat suit in 3D World. And I had fun with it. Like I think it's pretty good so far. I hear it's short. I'm fine with this being short. I'm excited for it to be short and jam-packed. It actually reminded me a lot of Astro's Playroom, where it was like a kind of fun little idea that I don't think is going to overstay its welcome. And I'm kind of digging it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And it was enough to just hear about it to push me over the edge to buy the game for $80 Canadian. And I'm glad I did.
So it's like an open world thing too, though, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a small open world. It's kind of I would describe it as a 3D World Sunshine Odyssey hybrid. I don't know if that sounds strange, but I see elements of all those games in here, and it's a unique combination. I'm digging it.
That's cool.
Only played an hour or two, but maybe that's most of the game.
Are you hooked? Why? Did that convince you to buy?
I mean, that's what I've been hearing from other people too. So, I mean, I want to play it. It's just that price tag is so annoying, but I'll probably buy it.
Huck, you been playing anything?
Yeah, so I've been going on a bit of a detective game, Hook. Hook? That's not the right word.
Binge.
Binge. So I've been trying to research for like some project I'm on. So I played a game which is not really a detective game, more like a walking simulator, but it's called The Suicide of Rachel Foster, which is, I can't remember the team that makes it, but it is a very pretty game. It takes place in a hotel, and you play as, I guess, the daughter of the owners, and they have passed away. And now you are coming to sort of do the final walkthrough before you sell this hotel off, and you're stuck. You get stuck in the hotel because it's a snowstorm outside. And so far I've only played about an hour or so. It's been basically just walking through the environment. It's a pretty big environment, being a hotel. You can kind of open any door you want, kind of go wherever you want. Some doors are closed off that I'm assuming I'll find, keys and stuff for, or there's little almost like backdoor alleys you can kind of sneak through that you may not notice the first time. And it's really a really nice looking game, really well polished. And I haven't got into any real puzzle or gameplay things yet, but I do like how they do their walking simulator, you could call them mechanics, where just from like where I was looking at it from a design point of view, I don't know if other walking simulators do this, but where you start off with like a little dot in the middle of the screen, and then if you pass that over anything you can interact with, if you're, let's say, like 4 meters away from it, it'll turn into a circle. So it kind of tells you from a distance that there is something over there you can interact with. And then as you get, let's say, within 1 or 2 meters, then it'll turn into like a hand icon or something that tells you can pick it up. And then you have that typical sort of like rotate the object, see if it makes any sense. So right now,
I feel like that kind of
nothing.
started with Heavy Rain and then got incorporated to like a bunch of games. Like Last of Us is kind of like that, and
Yeah,
even The Medium was like that a little bit too, I think.
yeah. So a lot of games have either like um, you have a dot, and then when you're close to something, it tells you, or when you're inside of the vicinity, they'll put like a little marker on it, even if you're not looking at it, just to tell you like there's things here. And from my perspective, where I'm trying to like think of it from a like an investigative, like detective aspect, I like I like the idea of that I have to actually be looking at it. It doesn't just tell me where everything is necessarily. I have to actually be kind of looking through the environment and paying attention to all the touches that have been put in the environment. It doesn't just like blatantly tell me where everything is. So I'm enjoying it so far. I want to go back to it, but yeah, I haven't got very far. It sounds like there are a few other um, gameplay things they add. It sounds like there's a camera and maybe some other things. Also, the map you use is diegetic, which means it's actually like in the world space, kind of like Far Cry 2, if you think of the Far Cry 2 map, if you guys played Far Cry 2. And they have sort of like a map, and then they have a to-do list beside the map every time you pull open the map. So it doesn't show you where you are on the map. It's literally like a map, and you kind of have to flip the pages for each floor. So you do have to do some navigation, and then you have this to-do list, which kind of keeps it, a nice where I need to go next, kind of like to-do list, which is nice. So
Diet,
overall,
good word.
oh yeah, I'm deep in the design lingo right now.
Hello.
Yep, that's it for that one.
Okay. I tried out a VR game that I can talk about briefly. Paper Beast. This thing is, I think it's exclusive to PlayStation VR. Oh no, it is on Windows as well. Um, and it's from Eric Chahi, if that's how you say his name, who did
Right.
Another World. And been meaning to try this one out. It's kind of I don't really know how to describe it. I guess it's a puzzle game, but you're kind of, it starts off in this really weird, like not at all what I expected. It kind of, I don't know, there's like this prologue, and then you just sort of end up in this strange world. And there are these animals that are made out of paper, and they are what you interact with and what you use to solve the puzzles. So, some of the animals you can pick them up and move them around. Sometimes you need to lead them somewhere, or the animals interact with each other. So, kind of little like bug snacks in some ways. But, just to give you one example, like you're in this cave, there's this kind of worm thing that will eat sand and poop it out its butt. And you're kind of, there's an entrance or an exit to the cave you got to get through, but it's covered with sand. So you got to move it over so that it kind of vacuums out the sand for you. Okay. Pretty simple, but I mean, it does not explain really anything to you. You're just kind of walking around looking at stuff and thinking, okay, it seems like I have to go this way, and then trying to understand what these different creatures do. And, you just got to figure it out yourself. And so I kind of like that aspect of it. And the visuals, it's kind of this weird, surreal looking world. And yeah, I mean, I was enjoying it. I think it's kind of a short-ish game, maybe 3-4 hours. So I probably played like an hour, but I am enjoying it, and we'll go back to it.
First line of the trailer is somewhere inside big data. And as soon as I read that, I was like, I know. Sean was hooked right as soon as he read that. He didn't even need to watch the rest of the trailer.
Well, I feel like there is sort of like a framed narrative thing going on, kind of like Super Hot or something, but I don't totally get it yet.
So the trailer says it has a fully simulated ecosystem, which is kind of interesting if it actually pulls it off.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't
mean,
know if you've noticed any of that stuff.
I don't know what that means exactly. Like the animals do just kind of move around and interact on their own, and then it's kind of up to you to introduce things into the environment. Like there was a puzzle with water where these animals seem to be kind of like dead or dying, and then you kind of get water to them, and then suddenly they spring back to life. But like in terms of like how they all interact with each other and kind of just go about their daily lives, it doesn't seem that detailed. I mean, they have a movement, a way that they move, and a couple little characteristics, but that's about it. Maybe it gets more complex and things fit together more in more detail as you continue on, but it was pretty cool.
Frank, you got anything else?
No, that's it for me. Light week.
I got one more. I played a game called A Hand with Many Fingers, and this game is definitely a detective game. You start off in a small room. I'm sure it's made by a small indie team, if not one guy. And you essentially have like a cork board, and there's a telephone, which I don't know what it's about, and then a table with a box on it. So you open the box. In there, there's like a little scrap of paper and a picture and like a business card or something. And you take those and you pin them up on the cork board and you read it. And then there's a sign beside the table that says, to get more research data or whatever it says, take your name, the date, or the name, the year, and the place, and go to the, archives or whatever they call them, and look up where your box of information is. So then you go to the next room over, and there are a bunch of cabinets there, and above each cabinet is sort of like a continent. So it'll be North America, East Asia, Australia, et cetera, et cetera. Then you go and look at a specific cabinet. It has a bunch of years on it. So then that's where you use your years to pull open the drawer. And then in the drawer, there's like a card catalog type thing, like from an old library that has names on it. So you have to follow the clues that you've discovered from each box that you've put on your cork board, and then get more information. And then you take that card out of the card catalog, and it'll basically give you a number that's like 533/17. And then you actually go downstairs into the archives, and there's all these boxes on shelves, and you have to find the box you want, and then you pick it up, you bring it back, and then if you open it, it'll either say there's nothing in here, or it'll give you more of these articles and pictures and things to put up on the cork board. And then you can kind of connect them with string and try to figure out, I don't know, whatever is going on in this mystery. It seems to be some sort of like, it starts off as like a banker is killed, and then it kind of unravels to be like, oh, there's something kind of going on weird with this bank. I won't spoil it if anyone actually wants to pick it up. But I was playing it to kind of figure out how they work this corkboard mechanic. And there really is no mechanic. It really is just like put things up on the corkboard and sort of like organize your thoughts. And the problem I ran into with this is that you are playing this game, and if you happen to like miss a clue or don't write down, because they say like use a notepad, like an actual real world notepad to take notes. So if you don't take good notes or you miss something, when you run out of ideas, you essentially have to go over all of the clues on the corkboard to try to figure out what you missed. And really, that is not fun. And so I was thinking back to
makes me think of Obra Dinn. Like Obra.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that comes to mind, where once you figure out certain aspects, they kind of remove those options from your overall I guess encyclopedia or database of clues you have to go over. So you no longer have this giant stack of notes to go over. It's more limited, which is really nice. And I was watching a Game Maker's Toolkit video about this detective game stuff, and they were saying that one of the things that they do in a game like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective is that, which is another game kind of similar to this, is basically they give you a clue, and then they set you out in the world or in like an environment that has a whole bunch of information in it. And it's up to you to sort of use the tools to get the right information out of the environment. So in the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective game, they give you like a dictionary or a phone book, I guess, of all the names of people in London. and all the places and stuff. So you have to take the clues they give you, look it up in the phone book. That'll give you a place to go, et cetera, et cetera. This is basically the same idea, but it also has the same problem where if you lose track of your clues, you basically have to either randomly try stuff or go back and reassess all of your clues, which is not fun. And like you said, Frank, Oberdin does this nice where you do limit the amount. They kind of say, hey, you're on the right trail with this stuff. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That's correct. And I really like that aspect of it. And so I played this game for about 45 minutes, got stuck, and kind of came to this realization that if you just have this sort of like ever growing list of clues, you could potentially run into the case for the player where they get stuck and then it's just not fun anymore because you just so many clues to go through to try to figure out what you missed. And yeah, so that's where I was with this game. The game was pretty neat. I'm sure if you paid more attention, you could get through it. It didn't seem like it was meant to be hard or very long. But it was an interesting little game, first-person game. And I would recommend it if you're interested in that kind of like puzzle solving through, investigation and reading and trying to fit everything together. It's pretty neat.
Cool. I have heard some good things about it, so
yeah,
kind of curious. I got one other quick thing to mention. Just I don't know if you guys had any interest in this, but I checked out Destruction All-Stars, which was free on PlayStation Plus this month. And it was pretty fun. I mean, it's kind of it's almost like, Burnout, just taking like the main sort of crashing mechanic in Burnout and then turning into like an arcadey esports kind of game. And you're just in these arenas and you have a character and you have a special ability. Each character has a special ability. And then you have a special car that you can call in, but there's cars all over the arena. So you can just jump in a car and all you're trying to do is smash into other cars to gain points. But there's a bunch of different game modes. One that was kind of fun. I can't remember what it was called. It was a Carnado or something like that. But like you build up these points by smashing into other cars, but then you have to bank the points because if your car gets destroyed before you bank the points, you lose them all. And so you got to like drive to the center of the arena to bank it. And it's, it's a fun little thing because you can jump out of the car before you get destroyed and then you can run around on foot, but obviously you're very vulnerable like that. And, there's not that much to it. It's pretty simple, but it looked nice, colorful, and it was pretty fun. So, I only really played single player stuff against bots. I didn't go online, but it would be fun to play with some friends, I think.
Yeah, reviews are all over the place on this game. Like,
yeah,
I have no idea what to expect.
I have heard that there's some some bugs and crashes and things. I think they just released a patch, so I don't know if the reviews are partially negative because of that. But it's a pretty straightforward concept. It's just it's the kind of game to me where it's like, is this going to be around in a year, 2 years? I don't know. But for a night with some friends, seems like it would be fun.
Excellent. Is that it for you, Huck?
Yeah, that's everything. I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Be sure to check out youtube.com/GameJunk. And on Twitter, My Angry Commute, Equilibrium Sis, Film Junk, and Game Junk Podcast on Twitter.
Yep.
All right. And
fuck Facebook.
And I think that's it. Again, sorry. I just want to apologize to my co-hosts officially on the show for being late for recording. But thank the listeners for checking us out, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
At the end. Going right at the end. If he even answers.
can't hear anything.
Oh, I can hear it through my headsets, can't you?
Oh, there we go. It wasn't.
Hi, you reached Frank Kinezich. I'm sorry I couldn't take your call right now, but if you leave a brief message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
After leaving a message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Hello, Frank.
Hello.
We're ready to record.
Waiting
So,
for you.
Just come online whenever you're ready. Okay, bye.
Whenever you're ready, just hang out. Move the day for you. No big deal.
I don't know what to do other than, like, if he's not answering his phone, it could be on silence or something. Like, who knows?
Yeah. What an ass.
I mean, I texted him at like 5:30 or something because I was asking him because he was talking about getting that the Mario 3D World game for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
So I just asked him if he got it, and he said he had it, and he was going to try to play it before the show tonight. So I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Interesting.
All right. So should I call Frank one more time or what?
Sure. It's getting pretty late. No point.
I
I think
this
if we
is
push
happening.
it much later, it's not going to happen at all.
Like, isn't there a thing where if you call from the same number twice, it'll get through or something like that?
I don't know.
I feel like that's just like a setting. I don't know if he has it on or not.
Maybe. Or if you can maybe mark the call as like important or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on the comic book. So I wonder if this guy, Brandon Sanderson, was inspired by the comic book as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Hi, you reached Frank Kinezich. I'm sorry I couldn't take your call right now, but if you leave a brief message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
After leaving a message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Hi, Frank. I think we're calling it a night here. I don't know. I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Call or a text when you get this, and talk to you soon. Bye. I don't know.
Oh, well. It's nice to chat with you.
Yeah, it was good. So,
Frank
I don't
missed
know. Are we assuming we're still recording tomorrow then, or what?
I don't know. Should we just put this up as an episode?
Maybe. Oh, Frank's awake.
He's awake? Yeah? Should we stay up?
Hi, Frank.
Hello.